The next question is, what is enlightenment? And I'm not convinced that I have the qualifications to answer this. When I had my spiritual awakening, it felt like enlightenment. And there was a point in my life where I really thought I knew who I was. And I was wrong. And so for me to say now I really know who I am also seems very shallow. But enlightenment is a question, or it's a term that's used by people who aren't enlightened. So when people say, is he enlightened? They're asking, does this person fit what you imagine an enlightened person would be like? So does someone who's enlightened fit your definition of what they should be? So it's kind of just a bogus question. But I think that what people mean when they ask about enlightenment is enlightenment seems to have a few different facets to it. One is, have you had the major experiences, the experienced truth understandings about what's going on? Not that you understand all of it, but it seems to be the self-realization, the realization that you are a spirit, the realization that it's all one. But also, for me, when I felt enlightened, it was also my state of being. I felt in the flow. It feels like you're standing in the living corridors of the divine, this living hallway of energy and life. And it's so intense. I mean, it's not like a movie or anything crazy. It's just overwhelming, silent bliss. And there's nothing to it. You just sit here with your eyes closed and you're experiencing it. You're just living in it. And so when I had my awakening, I had several days of very strange experience where you're awake during sleep, which is hard to express. I could hear in my head the frequency of love. I could whistle the note of love. You can't focus, your eyes don't work. You don't know where one thing stops and another begins. You have this realization that there's no difference between your foot and the floor, and that it's all relative law and relative rules that regulate the tangible universe. It's also called the manifest universe. And then I think when it hit me, I had 2 kids. I'm married with 2 kids. I'm married with 3 kids now. And so when it hit me, I went home and I said, everything's amazing. It's so simple. It's all just isness. And sounded like a total maniac. And no one cared at all. And I couldn't get anyone on board with me because we still had diapers to change and rent to pay. And so that blissful thing had to get regulated down. I could not go back to work. I could not work in that space of just bliss, and nothing mattered. Nothing matters. Whatever all right, fine, you want my car? Take my car. And I knew that I could not go back to work, and so I just kind of forced myself back into the body, so to speak. Back into this world of rules and stuff. And every day, wish I hadn't. Wish I just lost the house, stayed in that sweet space, let someone else take care of everything because I'm just a vegetable. That's what enlightenment feels like, is when you're in the flow of it, when you're connected. I don't know if I am, is, was, wasn't. I have no idea. But it doesn't feel to me like enlightenment means you have these powers and you have this power. It just feels like when you're in the flow of it, power comes. I can't just sit down and be awake during sleep and experience that bliss. I just can't do it. And I don't know if all the people doing magic and feeding the 5,000 are intending to do this, or if they're just so surrendered and in the flow of the divine that whatever the divine wishes just flows through them. And that's my guess, is that's what the enlightenment is having the realizations, having the presence and the surrender to be in the flow of it. And that not once enlightened, always enlightened, but enlightened is being in it. And that's somehow a product of what you've experienced, what you truly know now, and where you allow yourself to be as a result of surrender and that emotional energy. So you're welcome for that definition that is totally meaningless.